The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys StoryLine. Brought to you by Gillette, the official razor of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's Nick Eatman.
What is up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. I am Nick Eatman. It is Tuesday, August 19th. Let's talk a little Cowboys football. That's kind of what we do on this show. Welcome back. Yes, I've been back here for a couple of shows now, but still I'm officially back because Chris Beam's back there running the board again. No offense to anyone else. They did a nice job, but you know, starters are the starters for a reason. And when they're back in, it makes a difference. You know, there's no Wally Pip going on here. All right. Let's get this thing going. I know there's a lot to talk about. We've got practice tonight here at Ford Center for the next two nights. If you're in the area, you want to come watch the Cowboys here at Ford Center at the Star District, come on and do that. I think practice is 6 p.m. Doors open about probably like 4:30 or 5. I should know those details, but it might be on one of these reads right here. Admission is free. That's the best part of the whole thing. Come out here and watch the Cowboys, though, tonight and tomorrow. 2 nights that we'll have here. They'll be the last 2 open practices of the season as we're getting closer and closer to get this thing kind of started, the 2025 season. I know everybody's anxious and want to know what's going to happen with this team. Maybe a little bit concerned or a lot of bit concerned based off of what we've seen or haven't seen in the preseason so far. All right, let's go to the callers here. Here's somebody not as concerned about the Cowboys, about what's going on. How about Randy? Randy in Texarkana, my guy. What's up?
What's happening, brother?
How are you doing?
I'm all right, I guess. Excuse my voice. It's very, very shaky. I had treatment yesterday, so I got the jitters real bad.
Oh,
hard to control it. But
well,
I wanted to – it sucks. It's part of it. But we're going to get to it.
Okay.
So I want to do, if everybody else will follow along, since the gambler comes on tonight, let's make this a gamble show. And I've already got one in my head that I'm not scared to say it. The Milton backup. If you want him to throw an 80-yard pass, he can do it. If you want him to throw a 10-yard pass, he'll throw it 80. I think at best he's practice squad, and I think he's going to remain our backup quarterback for some. This is the gamble part of Jerry Jones. I'm going to get deep, but I say he's gambling on that because if he wanted to get a better backup quarterback for a little money, he could have just kept Rush and did that. We already knew the guy. So I think he's on purposely doing this for the gamble. Of course, this is just for fun. I think that he's going to do the gamble if Dak doesn't make it a full season, bringing him in and tanking the season, because there's a certain Manning down there at the University of Texas that his papaw said he wanted him to be a Cowboy quarterback. And the only way to get one of those kind of quarterbacks is you got to dump it. And that's the gamble I'm referring to.
All right.
Just for fun. Of course, you know, they'll say, you'll have all the callers call in and say, oh, you're crazy. I mean, they call him the gambler for a reason. How you know?
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a gamble.
Desperate.
That'd be a hell of a gamble. The guy hadn't started a game in college football, so I mean, I'm a little hesitant before I say, oh, you know, because I mean, Michael Jordan had relatives too. That doesn't mean that they're great. So I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I understand, and there's people walk around here that are Texas, hook 'em, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he hadn't started a game, so we'll see. We'll see how good he is. He might be outstanding, but tanking any kind of seasons for him, I doubt it.
Well, I'm just saying if Dak goes down. If Dak's in there, of course, let's go full blown and let's do this thing. But
yeah,
I mean, heck, Troy Aikman. You know, I've always said my favorite defensive player of all time was Darren Woodson. My favorite in offense was Troy, and he was on the Monday night game last night actually saying he feels really good about Dallas this year, and that kind of threw me for a minute because I was getting ready for him to start talking trash, and he said he likes what we've got going on. So maybe I mean, he was a professional, so I'm gonna listen to him. And
We know
Hope
Troy.
that we do.
Yeah, Troy tells it like it is. So,
Yeah.
all right, Randy. Well, thanks for calling and getting us leading us off here. Hope you're doing well, for sure.
All right. Yep. I'm gonna get through it. Hey, shout out to your mama. She knows why. She did me right again.
Let's clarify that she got you food, and she brought some food over
Come on,
here.
man.
No, I'm just saying, let's clarify there that she brought food over again, and you're eating the cooking there that I don't have. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. All right, Randy.
She made a pineapple cake, a refrigerated cold cake thing. Oh my! I made myself sick eating that stuff.
Nice.
It was good.
Awesome.
All right, brother. Get to the next one.
All right.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Randy.
Bye-bye.
All right, good stuff. I'll also go back to the backup quarterback stuff, the gamble part, and Jerry's definitely a gambler, and that they titled the Netflix series that came out today officially. I believe it's an 8-part series. I've seen 5 of the episodes. I have not seen all 8, so it's really well done. It's really well done, especially for someone that's been caught up in my own documentary, and the trailer just came out to that on Coach Joe for Joe Avazano that comes out on Thursday. But it's the Netflix series is really, really good. They did a good job, and obviously showing that Jerry's gotten to this point of making these kind of moves. However, making Joe Milton your backup quarterback for this season, especially when Dak is coming off an injury and has had injuries every year, that would be right at the top of the list of the gambles. He's not ready to do that. He's not ready to be your backup quarterback. He hasn't shown the consistency to make just some of the minor throws that are needed. Your basic elementary type throws, he's not there yet. And he's been in training camp where it was iffy, never getting hit at training camp. Come to the preseason, and it's vanilla, but it's vanilla on the defense too. They're not giving any kind of crazy stuff. I mean, and he showed there at the goal line, there down at the 2-yard line, and he got sacked for a safety. I mean, that ball should have been out. You should have seen that, should have processed that from the beginning. This is going to be a quick, hot route. Mingo was wide open to the left side. He had a couple of receivers open, and he waited too long and took a sack and a safety. And it got, lucky they didn't lose the football. But those type of things to me just show that he's not ready to be the backup, and that's okay. I mean, remember the Cowboys did the same thing last year. They didn't just trade a 7th round pick. I mean, they traded for a 4th round pick to get Trey Lance. They traded a 4th round to get Trey Lance for him to come in here, learn all year long, and then last year he was supposed to be the backup, and he wasn't ready. And so Cooper Rush was the backup, and he was the 3rd string. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that but you got to find a backup. Maybe it's Will Grier. I don't know, but maybe it's someone else. But I don't think it could be Joe Milton. I think everyone knows that one. I would imagine that everybody would see the same thing there. There's no way you can go into a season and have him as the backup. He just hasn't shown that he's ready yet. All right, let's go to Brian in Kansas City.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to hear from Randy, and
sure.
Glad to hear it. Now, I'm a little upset that Mama doesn't drive any food up to Kansas City, man.
Well, you know what? If you asked her, she might. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, so that's a good conversation on the backup quarterback, because I absolutely believe Grier is better than Milton right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I agree with you. I don't think there's any question about it right now.
And they know that. That's another thing I didn't say. Like, one of the reasons you're not seeing him enough, they feel like they know who he is. The upside for Milton's obviously a lot higher because just his athleticism and all that. But they know what they have with Will Grier. Now, does he need reps? Sure. But they kind of feel like he could go in and be what he is.
Yeah, and I was kind of hoping in the 3rd game, that maybe he does get a couple of reps so that, just shake off any last bit of rust or anything in case he is needed. Because you just never know. I mean, anything can happen. An equipment failure. What if he just has to go in for a drive? Something happens and, Dak breaks a shoelace and they can't find one for one drive, and somebody's got to go in. And now my question is when they do the designations, are they going to keep 2 quarterbacks on the 46 because they're so unsure, or And then who do they designate as the emergency guy? Because I think the backup right now has got to be Will, and that would make Milton the emergency break glass in case of emergency. But anyway, it's just a roster thing that we'd wonder about come week one. For me, I watched I did not watch the first game. I only watched the highlights of the first game because they didn't have anybody out. They didn't really have any starters out there. But this time they did, and I watched the game, and I have to say that watching BB and Booker play together was definitely you could see that there was something going on there. There was some good chemistry. I watched other people break down I have one of that package that gives you the all 22, but
right.
I don't know what I'm looking for. I watch other people who break that down. And
yeah.
And I saw, people breaking it down, saying they passed off the stunts and everything okay. So I was really glad about that. What I was really excited, though, about, Nick, was what I saw from the linebackers.
Yep.
I thought the linebackers had a fantastic game compared to what everybody said after the Rams game. And maybe I thought I'd throw that one back to you. What did you see and what did you like? Damone Clark looks like a new man out there, and I had heard so many good things in training camp, but I mean, he really looked like he really takes to Eberflus's system here. So I'll throw that one out to you and listen to your answer off air, man.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate the call. And you're right about the linebackers. I mean, they have performed well, and that was not an uncommon thing to see in a Matt Eberflus defense. I've mentioned it before. I mean, I just feel like I've always seen him take linebackers to another level. He did it when he first started here with Anthony Hitchens. That's the one that I remember the most. But I mean, he had Shaq Leonard in Indianapolis, and a second round pick that was an all-pro over there, and he's Bears had some good linebackers last year. Sanborn was one of them. So we did our top 20 list of players at training camp, and we did a photo gallery with that. Ranked our top 20 players, had everybody kind of vote for it, and of the 20, I think 4 linebackers made the list. So that's pretty impressive. Now, nobody's super high, but I mean, I think Maris Leofau was 7 on the list, and then Damone made it, Kenneth Murray made it towards the end, Sanborn made it. So that's encouraging there, and you're seeing that show up now. The better that the defensive tackles play, the better the linebackers are going to play, and maybe vice versa. But it starts up front there, and I think that if they can play well and let the linebackers get to the football, then I think the defense has a chance to be much better this year. Let's go to Derek in Springfield for the next call.
Hey Nick, how's it going?
Hey Derek, how are you?
Oh, I'm okay. Actually, kind of been a little bit of an emotional morning, dropping my 3-year-old off at a preschool, and man, he was loving it until he realized Mom and Dad weren't staying.
Yep.
So
yep.
that was kind of the first time I've had to deal with that. But
Darius Rucker song on that one. Have you heard that
yeah.
one? It won't be like this for long.
Absolutely.
It goes through the emotions of that. I think that is an example there. I mean, in a week or two, they won't even know you're there. But which then you're going to have the problem. You know what I mean? Like, then you're going to be like, wait a second. I dealt with that at training camp this year. My 5-year-old was like, the iPad was more important than me, and so it was bad. It was kind of like, really, you don't miss me? But then again, that's a good thing because, so hey, parenting. That's all it is. That's all I could say there on that one.
Yeah, man, for sure. But yeah, to get with my point on why I was calling, and then I'll get off here. So, the last month or so, I've been with this whole Micah situation, I've been the day he requested the trade and have the big long paragraph on his notes sent out on Twitter, I was like, oh, they'll have a contract done in 10 days. And
right,
dude, obviously that's been longer than 10 days ago, and I'm starting to hit the panic button. And, I know people will say he's under contract now and we can franchise him 2 years in a row, but, man, I just don't think Micah's, playing games. And I don't know, man. I'm really scared he's going to hold out, and I just wish it didn't have to be this way. I know I'm not writing a check. I know I'm not the GM, but I mean, there's a difference in being in shape and football shape, and just like, even if he does come out and play against Philly, it's like, dude, I mean, I don't feel like he's going to be in football shape, and it's just like, I just wish we could have a normal, just off season.
No. The Dallas Cowboys. See that star back there? No, this star right here, wherever it is. Yeah,
I know.
Not going to be normal.
I know, but
it's not normal.
I guess my question is are you worried? Do you think he still signs? Does he stay in Dallas?
Yeah.
And I'll leave you with that.
Okay. You know, I get thanks for the call, Derek. I think that it's fine to worry about the situation, because what you want is when the fireworks are done and the smoke, clears and they're kicking off in Philadelphia, then you want your team to be at its very best, because is that even good enough? That's the question. I mean, is the Cowboys' very best good enough to beat the world champions right now? I don't know that. I don't. You wouldn't think so, based off of last year and all that. But you don't know what the Cowboys are going to do this year with the new staff and new players and all that. But you want them to be at their best. And right now, with Micah Parsons not practicing and at odds with everything, how is that going to happen? So I understand the frustration there. But you got to remember too, like, it's all about leverage. Let's go back to the first caller here, Randy, talking about gambling. When you gamble, who's got the upper hand on this? And Micah does not have the upper hand on this situation. So you said he's not playing around. Okay, you think Jerry's playing? Like, I think Jerry seems kind of pissed off about it. And he holds the cards on this. And he's got better cards than Micah to play, because Micah showed us he's not looking to be fined for missing training camp practice. So that's why we have a back injury. And he was here and there and not getting fined. I don't even know what the daily fine is, but it was never going to happen. But I can tell you he's not going to miss $1.25 million for each game week. He's not missing any games. So we got that part, okay? He's not going to miss any games. Now, what if he goes out and plays and is not Micah Parsons? Not the Micah that we've seen. 2 tackles, no sacks, 1 quarterback pressure, Cowboys lose. What does that look like for him? Oh, this guy wants $44 million and he goes out and does that? I got a lot of players that can do that. That's the risk he's got to take. So he can't suck when he's out there. He's not going to miss time. And when he's out there, he's got to be at his best. So that's why I've always thought this is about the time that we'll see this done. And if you remember last year, I know that we had a night practice like this, like we have tonight. That's when it went down with CeeDee Lamb, because I know that he was here for one of those practices and did practice. So this is about the time that kind of thing could happen. He's mentioned it before, that he talked to CD, that CD said, hey, I wish I would have gotten in a little bit sooner so I wasn't as rusty. He knows all of that. So he can't afford to miss time, miss a game, of course. He can't afford to not play well when he's out there. So that's why I think you shouldn't worry too much about all these things. This is about the 35th time this has happened that I can remember, going all the way back to the Emmitt Smiths and Michael Irvins and situations like that happened right before the start of the season. I just wouldn't worry just yet. And if there is a player who's a freak of nature that can go out there and play without practicing a whole lot, I would put Micah in that category. All right, let's go to Dylan, Northport, Florida. Dylan.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Bud. How are you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing good on the Micah stuff. I'm not worried about the deal getting done. It'll get done. It's crazy if it doesn't. It'd be one of the wildest things we've ever seen here. But what I am worried about is him going out and being the Micah Parsons who wants to go 1,000,000% every snap. And, he gets like a muscle injury or a hammy or something, and now he's got to sit out several weeks. And that's my concern. So I had predicted this was the week that it would get done, and that's more me being hopeful than anything else. Because I think having a week of practice under his belt would really pay dividends as far as his potential health and being able to play at a high level against the Eagles. So that's not a game you want to go into and have somebody like Micah have to go in slowly and warm up. Right. You got to start fast. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I also want to talk about the linebackers. You guys talked about a couple of calls ago. Damone Clark's best plays, and he had a lot of bad too, so let's not get too hyped about Clark, but props to him for playing well after a good training camp. But he still kind of plays a lot of patty cake, kind of sits back, even when there's gaps to fill. But his best plays seem to come when Toia was handling those double teams and had these guys not hit the second level when he did have those free lanes to run through. And if there is a strength to this defense, I think it is going to be the edges and the linebackers. The unfortunate thing about the linebackers, and I think teams will see this, Cowboys are hurting at cornerback real bad. So I think teams are going to line up in a lot of packages that force the Cowboys into nickel and dime and keep those linebackers off the field, right? So, again, going back to the edges, you need Micah on the field in that scenario. The Cowboys can go heavy, right, with linebackers and some of their safety linebacker hybrids, but then you have mismatches with these receivers. So I'm excited about the linebackers, but you're going to have some good play from the secondary to see all these guys in the field too, and get these teams out of these wide packages with these 4 or 5 receiver sets. So, just my thoughts on that.
You're right. I mean, that's one of those things too, where that's a good call. Thanks, Dylan, for the call. Appreciate that. That's interesting because you're right. When you look at the weaknesses maybe that you see on the defense, it's definitely the lack of depth at cornerback and nickelback. So spreading them out and exploiting those mismatches is definitely going to be a thing. You can also say they can run the football right up the middle and see what kind of defensive tackle position you have. So, you're right about that. I don't know how much the linebackers are gonna be out there. It'll be interesting to be a cat and mouse game almost every week because what kind of defenses are you going to play it? Because I do think that the linebackers play rather well in coverage. I'm not saying they could cover receivers, but I backs out of the backfield, tight ends carrying them down the field. They did a pretty nice job with that. So, do you play base packages and take your chances there, try to stop the run, and then try not to get killed in the passing game? Or are you going to play a lot of nickel and then see what happens? And then what kind of pass rushers are you going to have? Because we've seen a lot of defensive ends that are moving inside to play. I saw Sam Williams line up inside with Azaraku on the outside. We'll definitely see Marshawn Nealon, who's a defensive end, playing some on the inside. So they're going to get their pass rushers in there. So, from that standpoint, on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, I like that. But they better get home because of the lack of experience you have in the secondary. So that's a big question mark there is how they played. I thought you make a really good point there, Dylan. All right, let's go to our first break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
This segment is presented by Yeti, officially licensed Yeti. Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops concession and on Yeti.com and on making the Cowboys all Storyline team. First, second, third, or honorable mention, I believe is what landed them. That reminds me, Brian in Kansas City. I know you still haven't gotten yours yet because we had a typo in the address, but we will get it to you soon. All right, let's go to Chuck D in Bridge City. He's been holding. I think he also has one of these mugs as well. Chuck, what's up?
What's up, Nick? Yeah, I do. I love it.
Yeah. All right, man.
Got,
How are you?
the
How are
blue
you doing?
one.
Got the blue?
I'm good. I wanted to bring this up. I'm worried that we're not going to get our 2 tackles and have our enough chemistry with our starting line if we even get them before the Eagles. I know how important it is to
Offensive
have
line?
Yeah, our 2, Steele and Guyton, to have some sort of chemistry going because we can't run the ball in preseason. I know it's preseason, but I sure would like to see them all together and build some sort of rapport. That way we can get this running game going because if Dak's on his back, it don't matter who he's throwing the ball to. We ain't going to do nothing.
No, I get it. I think Steele's gonna be fine. I mean, he'll be ready to go. I actually was. I just saw Guyton on the field working out right now, and he talked a little bit yesterday in the locker room, and it looks encouraging for him to be. He's going to be right there. It's going to be close. I think the big question they're going to have is, do you put Tyler Guyton out there without a lot of practice or really any practice, or do you go with the with the rookie there? Is he going to be able to be the guy at left tackle? He's never even played.
Yeah. And the other thing I saw where Shawty said you might see some surprise cuts. I don't know if somebody's talking about this or not yet, but could you see that being somebody like Mozzie? I know he's a first rounder, but that'd be definitely a surprise cut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you lose a first-round pick, I mean, and he doesn't make it past what this would be 2 years. I mean, if he doesn't make the team, that'd be a surprise. I just don't see that happening, though. I just don't see him not being on the team. I mean, I think he may not be the starter, but how many guys are better than him? I just don't see it. I mean, who's gonna make the team over him, unless they get a surplus of defensive tackles that are on the street and cut and available. But I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, me either. I was just trying to be, messy and start something there because I read it online. But
yeah,
I don't see it happening either.
Yeah. All right. All right, man. Thanks for the call,
Nick.
Chuck. Appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's keep this train moving here. We're going to go to the line to Fresno, California. We got Brandon.
What up, Nick? What's going on, man?
Hey, bud. How you doing?
Just working, hanging in there, ready to get the season started.
Yep.
Yeah, I started the Netflix show, so it's pretty good already. Just like 10 minutes into it, I'm already into it, so it's all good. But I was watching a couple of interviews and stuff, and I think Clarence is talking to Emmett. And I know everybody's always talking about Mike and everything, but the way Emmett explained his contract and people are trying to compare the two, it's just like totally different. So, I mean, to me, Micah needs to play. He's got to play. So, I mean, and then we'll figure it out from there. But everybody's concerned about Mike. I'm worried about the running backs, Nick. I know we haven't seen Blue. I know he's kind of hurt. But I want to see who's going to be the 1-2 punch, or what are we going to do from there. Like I said, I'm really concerned on that. We're going to see Pickens. We're going to see CD. They're going to go off and everything. But I just want to see that running game. I want to see what that's like. I mean, I know we haven't got a real look at it. But I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. And I always ask you a number, but this time I wanted to know where were you when Emmett broke the record, and if you had a story about that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thanks for the call. We'll talk running game here. Thanks, Brandon. When Emmett broke the record, I was in the press box at Texas Stadium, watching, just kind of keeping track on it as well. And I think the interesting part about the play was he was 10 yards from the record, and he got right at 10. It wasn't like he got 35. That's why if you listen to the call from Brad Sham, he's like right at the mark, because, are they giving him 10? Is the stat crew going to give him 10? Or is this 9? Is it 2nd and 1? Or is it 1st and 10? So it was right there. And so I think they gave him maybe 11. So he got it. But the very next play, after all of that, after all of the, everyone's got him, they stopped the game and all this stuff, he's hugging Moose and Irvin and everyone on the sideline. I'm pretty sure the very next play he got stopped for no gain and he almost lost the record. right then and there. It ended up getting more yards after that. But that's what I remember about the game. And I've always said it's one of the most this is the show, Cowboys Storyline. There were more storylines in that game than I can remember in just about any other. I mean, it was overshadowed completely by the fact that you had Emmett's breaking the record. But if it would also be considered that was the game that, you could have three other things. Of course, Darren Woodson set the record for most tackles in Cowboys history, broke the record that day. A lot of people forget about that. Woodson knocked Darrell Jackson into a seizure. He hit him so hard. He got a $75,000 fine. That was also the first game Chad Hutchinson started and took over for Quincy Carter. They made the change for that game as well. So that, of course, changing quarterback to the middle of the season is a big deal. But most of it gets overshadowed by the Emmett stuff. So that's where I was, and that's what I remember about that game. Cowboys lose to the Seahawks 17-14, something like that. Close. All right, let's go to who's next? Rob in Vegas. What's up?
Hey, Nick. How's everything?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. The Mozzie talk, let's face it, Mozzie's that piece of crap car you drive to work every day.
I was going to say, man, where are we going here?
You want to get a new one, but it's better than walking. And, let's face it, you got nobody else. So, why get rid of him?
Right. That's where I am on that. I mean, I don't have to start him and play him, but, he needs consistency. He doesn't have any.
That's the key. Find somebody that is better so he plays less. I mean, that's the only thing I could hope for. I don't watch a lot of preseason football, but I got, my wife's away on business. I'm home by myself, so I throw the games on. And as a Cowboy fan, I think this team may have jumped the shark, the Cowboys. And the reason why I say that is when I look around the league, a few years ago, we maybe had to get past 2 teams, 3 teams. Now I look and it's like you got Philly, Washington, the Rams look good, Detroit, Packers, and I watched the Bears, and I know Buffalo, it was like 38, but the team looks different with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is, let's face it, a lot of us wanted Ben Johnson. He looked like he's got Caleb Williams playing really good. I just think Jerry didn't do enough. It's funny to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
I just don't think he did enough. He bringing in Pickens is nice, and but he's the icing on the cake. But we have no cake. The defensive line looks as bad as it did last year, maybe worse. The outside looks good. The middle's weak. Offensive line, who knows? Running game, who knows? Miles Sanders definitely doesn't look like the guy to me. He's got to go. He runs too soft. He looks like a guy that doesn't want it anymore. Give me the young, hungry guys. But as a fan, I hope for the best. But I just think this team just jumped the shark. It looks in my eyes. I hope they prove me wrong.
Yeah. Well, the Miles Sanders thing about he looks like a guy that doesn't want it or whatever. I mean, you said take the young, hungry guy. Who, Jaden Blue? Because he doesn't look. If we're going off of looks and all that, Jaden Blue wouldn't be the guy for you either. All I'm trying to say is that I don't know what you could have seen or not seen to say. This is not just you. This is anybody. How do we form an opinion about this? I'm watching this Washington-Cincinnati game. They got starters in the game. The Cowboys don't do that. So
and to me, I watch Chicago, and it's very similar to Dallas. You got a whole new coaching staff, and what does this guy do? He plays his starters. Nothing like it may not be real in the regular season, but when you win, I think it was 38-0. You feel good about yourself. There's nobody on this Cowboys team that feels good right now. You can't. After those 2 performances, the coaching staff's got to be looking at themselves like, oh, my God. And we don't know. And I don't know why you don't try to build up some kind of good feelings. I know there's injuries, but these guys are getting hurt just walking on the practice field. So give me something in the game. And now it's too late. They're not going to do it Friday because there's too short of a time if somebody does twist an ankle. I just like I said, this coach was supposed to change the culture. I see the same culture.
Well, okay. Thanks for the call. I don't know if you can see culture. You know, I mean, that's the thing, especially from the outside. And I'm not going to sit here and say you're wrong, or whatever. That's great because it doesn't look great, but to me, I'm still neutral. I mean, nothing has started yet. I've seen it, and I'm not trying to be the old guy here, even though I am, but I've seen every scenario you can possibly think of when it comes to the preseason. I've seen undefeated preseasons. They didn't do anything. I've seen winless preseasons. Turned out okay. I've seen things where you just can't figure anything out from what you've seen so far, and that's exactly what they want. Remember that. Now, remember this part is you don't know what a Brian Schottenheimer offense really is going to be. You can go look at some Seattle stuff, you can look at some Jets things, you can look at some of the other places he's been, but you really can't see it. You can't look at maybe what Clayton Adams is trying to do here and a little bit what they've done with Dak, but you don't have it. You really don't. And that's exactly what they want. They don't want you to see anything remotely, anything that you can look at and go, I have an idea. Philly has an idea what they're going to do. I mean, we're talking about the world champs over here. And they would rather keep it all hidden and then throw it out there Thursday night. And does that mean that it's gonna be enough? Who knows? But that's the plan. So knowing that, I'm not getting too worked up about what looks good, what doesn't look good. It's more of an individual standpoint. And individually, you can say, well, crap, who's the backup quarterback? Because it can't be this guy. It just can't be. So that's a reason for concern, and you look at some of the offensive line, they're not moving the ball. They didn't score a touchdown last week. I thought the backup offensive lineman would be better than this. I thought they would get to the game. All those guys have started at some point. I'm surprised with Awesome Richards hasn't taken the next step. I really am. I thought that Hoffman and Bass would create a little bit more running, room in there for these backs. We haven't seen it. I thought Phil Maffa would run the ball more. There might be a reason for that. Him not getting a lot of opportunities. But again, I don't want to sit here and say everything's great, but I can't go with the notion of, I don't feel good about this team based off of what I've seen. I just feel like we haven't seen anything yet, and the Cowboys don't want anyone to see anything yet. All right, KC Joe's in Kansas City. He's next. What's up?
Good morning. How are you doing this morning,
Good.
Nick?
How are you doing?
Good. I want to focus in on the positive, not any negative today. So,
all right.
I've seen the linebackers impress me. That Sanborn, James, they look really good. I was impressed. That Childers, number 46, and Harris, number 47, they both look pretty good. And I seen Ezraku, they were double teaming him the whole game. He didn't have a chance, not really. And then that Winfrey that was playing the one tech, I liked him. I mean, he was late in the fourth, but he looked good. Isn't that where he played in the one tech?
Yep. They don't have a lot of options there. And so, he's played. I don't think it's even a expectation thing anymore. You know what I mean? When you see Perry and Winfrey and Mozzie Smith, and you're like, well, he's the first round pick, and he's a guy you never heard of. And then sometimes you evaluate it based off of expectations. I don't even think it's that anymore. I really don't. I think Winfrey has played better than Mozzie. Not if you just didn't know who was who.
Right. No, like I said, and then Maffa, I liked what I saw out of him too on the offense, even though he didn't get many carries. But when he did get it, he looked good. I was like, wow. It opened my eyes. I'm like, wow, I could see him with Blue.
Yeah.
Of course, we haven't seen Blue. That's kind of, but he's hurt, so we won't see him. But,
Well, you got anything else?
No, sir. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Appreciate it, Joe. Thanks a lot. As I've said before, 2 screens. I see myself over here. I see the NFL Network. I see Washington and Cincinnati playing, and it's 2:54 to go in the first quarter, and Joe Burrow just got horse-collared pretty much and thrown straight to the ground into, face first. No thanks. I mean, it's not necessary for me. I get the point. Let's have a little bit of rhythm and all this kind of stuff. But you're still going to go 3 weeks before you play a game. So the rust, or you're knocking off any kind of rust, it's still going to be back for them. You're going to have rust on there. But what you're not going to have is an injury that happened in the game. I get it. It can happen at any time in practice. We've seen it. But I mean, you have to limit yourself for that, and it's just not worth it to me. Absolutely not with this football team. Not with a backup quarterback that you don't trust. You don't know who your backup is going to be. You don't know. You don't have any depth. That's the one thing that I'm totally fine with, and I bet Jerry is too, about Micah Parsons not doing anything. Good. Don't get hurt out there. Get ready when it's time to get ready, and fine. If you don't want to be out here, fine. We'll figure it out. And if this is your holdout or hold in or whatever it is. But the best thing is he's not really having an opportunity to get hurt. So, and that was the same with CD last year. I remember thinking that, I know he's working out and stuff, but he's not going to get hurt. So that's always a good thing. Let's go to Zach in Germany. I know we still would need a break, but let's go to Zach in Germany before we do that. Zach, what's up?
Nick, how are you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good points that you're just making. I see both sides as well when it comes to that. You don't want you guys to play scared, but I also see the other sense of urgency. We have 2 division opponents opening up our schedule. If we start out flat, it could be a problem. But at the same time, you can't lose your quarterback. So I get both sides. The question I have for you: the running back room scares me. I know Javonte is likely to be the one, but if Nick was GM today, would you take a third and maybe Tolbert and try to go get a guy from maybe New York or a guy from Jacksonville area? I won't say these names, but these guys that are on that last year of the contract, they had a high-end talent, just didn't work out where they were at. Is that something you would ever consider? And the reason I bring that up, good.
Are you saying go down the hall type of thing?
Yeah, I would probably go down the hall, and see what's going on down there.
Good luck with the other one. I don't even know. I think I know you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, but I feel like they kind of those guys are more dynamic. There's no doubt about it than what you have with Javonte Williams. I think if you were to do that, I think that's more of a, hey, we're going to replace Miles Sanders here, and the rookies aren't ready. Because Jaden Blue hasn't done anything yet, so he may not be ready.
Correct.
He may be your third back, and that's all, so you maybe need a second one. I would be fine with something like that. I think that's,
I look at it, it reminds me of a couple years ago. Remember we had the wide receiver by committee, and then we had to go get, Cooper. Very similar, obviously different position. Now, running backs in today's systems, of course, you now have 2 or 3. But those guys, I think the talent is still there. They're young. They, like I said, just didn't pan out. And we're used to throwing away fourths at this point anyway. So if you have a third or fourth, take the gamble, get a guy that has some talent. Because, the biggest fear I have is what happens if Javonte isn't good.
Right.
But if his knees aren't what they were, or those things, now we're really scrambling and hoping either Amafa or, Jaden Blue comes back and, just a thought. So I want to get your thoughts on that. And then if you have any input on the linebackers, I thought they looked good. I was impressed with some of the play across the board. Just want to get your feedback. And the last thing before I hang up, are you really surprised that Sean Lee never went into coaching? I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, I always thought when he retired he was just going to come back and coach. Just really surprised. So if you have any info on Sean Lee, just share with the group.
Okay.
I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you. Well, I know this. He's living out in California, and he's doing great out there, and he's enjoying not playing football and not doing a whole lot of anything. So if you look at the hours that coaches put in, that doesn't really surprise you. Could he be a coach? Of course he could be a coach. He'd be a great coach. Does he want to put the hours in that it takes to be a coach? Nah, not necessarily. And that's where I think. I haven't really talked to him about that. I know he dabbled into scouting and stuff like that, but I think that he enjoys being in California, doing what he's doing, and those hours are pretty healthy hours, and I just don't know if that's right. I'm not saying that he will never get back into it, but I think for where he stands right now, that doesn't seem like an option. As for the linebackers that are playing, yeah, they've done well. We've talked about that, and then the running backs. I think Javonte's getting this opportunity. I'm not ready to kind of pull the plug on Miles Sanders just yet. I know he played a little bit, but I want to see that offensive line, all of them together. And then not only that, it's not just the offensive line, because some of them were playing. It's CD and Pickens and Ferguson. That's going to help your running game. They has to. There's no way that you're going to be okay just lining up, one-on-one out there and not worrying about anything else. That running game has got to be much better, and I think it will be because of the threat that you're going to have. It might be a pass-to-run situation, but whatever it takes, I think that's going to happen. You get all the pieces out here, I think the running game is going to look different. Let's take one quick, short mini break here on Cowboy Storyline and be right back.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
If you're here in the area in the Dallas-Fort Worth, get a chance to come to Frisco tonight and tomorrow. Training camp practice August 19th and 20th at the Star in Frisco. Learn more at DallasCowboys.com/training camp. All right, we got time for one more call. Zach in Atlanta's been holding. Zach, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Nick in Frisco? How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Haven't listened to the show, so this may have been talked about. But Deep Blue, the Wall 2.0 came out. Fantastic documentary. Shout out to everyone. I saw your name on the credits too.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I think it's got so good. I think it's got everybody nostalgic because I've seen on Twitter, they're talking about did 14 have the best chance, 16. We're talking about 07 again. I'll throw in like maybe 2022 or 23. Those were great teams as well. I'm curious what your thoughts are on which of those teams likely had the best chance, not just team, but the best chance with kind of how the season played out.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think it was 2014 because you have the crosshairs of the line and Romo at his mental prime of the game. 07, he was slinging it, but he was young. Cabo, maybe that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen in 2014, right?
Yeah.
I think he was just locked in a different way in 2014. The defense was not as stout, but I just think that was probably the best chance. They were 8-0 on the road that year too. Went to Seattle, played it close in Green Bay, if not for the few miscues of the fumble and the Dez play. So that's my thought. I think each year has a case to build, but I think 2014 was the one that kind of hurts my heart a little bit.
Yeah. If 14 and 16, they're pretty much the same. We got to roll it. So I don't know if you have another question, but
that's it, man.
Okay, thanks,
have a
Zach.
good one.
I think if 07 is included, 07 was their best chance because it was their best team and they were just so talented, and there's a lot of little things there. One play maybe changes that whole game. Go to 14, one play probably changes that game too. But I think their best chance to make it to the Super Bowl was probably 16 because they had home field advantage. And even though they had the rookies, the way that they were playing. I just feel like, if they had beaten the Dez catch game, if they go and they still figure out a way to stop Aaron Rodgers or win the game, they got to go to Seattle again. They've already won once. Do you like the chances of going to beat them again? That would have been tough. If in 16, if they win that game somehow and beat the Packers, then they got the Falcons at home. I think they can win that and go to the Super Bowl. So I think 16 over 14. Does it matter? No, that doesn't. But it's just something fun to talk about, I guess. But, you'd like to be able to talk more about, more recent things. I get it. But still always fun to talk about. And you're right about Deep Blue. They absolutely crushed it. They did a great job. I'm talking about that team of Amber, Alex, Josh. They were awesome. Yeah, I was on the credits, but down there a little bit. Those three were phenomenal, and they really told a great story that everybody loves. And so it was one of the best, my favorite Deep Blues that we've done. And just the fact that those three linemen cooperated like they did to sit down and come in and do it was amazing. So anyways, we're not done with Deep Blue. We've got one more Thursday with Coach Joe Avizano. I think you're going to enjoy that one as well. All right. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you next time on Cowboys Storyline next Thursday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?